Ruben Selles, Simon, should he go too?
Well, should he go, or should he be given an opportunity to continue to manage them in the Championship? And my answer probably would be no. I think he talks a very good game. I think there may be a possibility that he'll become a manager at a later stage in his development, but I don't think he's the antidote to Southampton's particular ails at this moment in time. I think he interviews well. I think when you listen to him on the side of the pitch with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, he sounds sensible. They all came away thinking he sounds like a sensible lad. But it's one thing being able to say something, it's another thing being able to execute it. I realised that picking up from what he picked up from Nathan Jones, the problem for Southampton was the decision around Nathan Jones. Not because Nathan Jones isn't a decent manager, but he was out of his depth for this particular challenge. So when they decided to fire Ralph Hasenhüttl, and there's also people looking around now going, well, hang on a second, was that the right decision? Let's get it right. He was teetering on the brink at Southampton for several years, Hasenhüttl, and the fans themselves, a significant portion of them will probably forget that and have plausible deniability, wanted Hasenhüttl to be gone. What they didn't necessarily want was somebody like Nathan Jones that came in that was full of endeavour but lacking the idea or the communication skills to work with so-called Premier League players in a Premier League experience. So Ruben Selles coming in and being aesthetically and audibly pleasing is not the answer, because they've got to get back now, and they've got to get back quick.
So is this relegation largely the making of the board?
Well, it always is the making of the board. Even we know this. Success is an orphan in football, and failure has many fathers. Right? You can be clear that if the team had won something, it would be just down to the manager and the players. If the team loses something, it's down to everybody, including the boardroom. But in this instance, they had a chance to rectify it. They made a transfer policy decision in the summer to buy younger players and not get the balance right between younger, more experienced players. They didn't have enough strength in the dressing room to be able to supplement it with more younger players. Then they compounded it by taking Hasenhüttl out and putting them with a youngish manager in terms of his experience. Great at Luton, stunk the place out at Stoke. Great at Luton, dreadful at Southampton. And then they found themselves in a situation where they couldn't react because nobody wanted the bloody job. So they took Ruben Selles by design.
They've only got themselves to blame then.
In the end.
So I mean, that was an odd one for Hasenhüttl, wasn't it, last summer, when they suddenly told him, right, you're going to have to work with a different set of staff.
Yeah.
Because, so that was like, it wasn't particularly a vote of confidence, Jim, because you want your staff.
He should walk then. I mean, as a manager, I'm not that I make exceptions for managers doing exactly what they want, but if a manager needs his own staff, you don't need on top telling you who your staff are going to be. If that is what happened, then Ralph Hasenhüttl would have been best served saying to them, thank you very much, I've enjoyed my period here. This isn't going the way it should do.
Yeah, but he's a proud man.
Well, then pride would take him out the door. Not pride would make him stand there looking like a neutered dog. Your staff have been taken away. You've had your knackers cut off.
I mean, this lot don't seem to know what they're doing, do they?
But Jim, when you see...
the ownership put out a statement, Simon. Hugely disappointing day for everybody associated with the club. We know that. We're particularly sad and frustrated that our first season as controlling shareholders in Southampton Football Club has ended in relegation. Well, it has. So the finger of blame is pointed at you.
I think they've made an absolute horlicks of it. They've made a disaster of it. They've got relegated in their first season. If you're the owner of a football club and you've gone in there and you've paid 150, 200 million pounds to buy it, which is the best part of what they paid, and in your first controlling season you get relegated, it's an unmitigated disaster.
But they took out, I look in the summer, and Stevens went out on loan to Bournemouth, Bednarak went to Villa, Valerie went on a free transfer, Redmond, another good servant of the club, allowed to leave. If you're left in that dressing room, I think it was 8 players came in below the age of 20 years of age. Now, how was that going to ever work? Just wasn't, was it? So
Martin's making a great point. Why did they think it would work?
But then,
Simon,
again, I go to the point, and this is the point I never understand. We are not talking about managers that now aren't in a position where they can walk out of jobs now. They can walk out of jobs with this huge salaries they get and not have to put up with anything. If you're Ralph Hasenhüttl and you can see this going on in your watch, why would you want it? Why would you say?
Yeah, but he's been there 2-3 years, hasn't he? We've seen him on his knees when he beat Liverpool, and you kind of laughed at that.
I did.
But this is a man who was passionate about his club.
Yeah.
Why not? It's like, well, okay, they can get whoever they want, but they're not getting rid of me, and they haven't. So I'm going to stay here and fight until I'm told to go.
So what I would suggest, the alternate side of that argument is if you are the manager of this football club and you have a great deal of pride on it, and you stamp your feet privately to such a level that you say this is not workable. This club will suffer. It will suffer dramatically. It will suffer emphatically, and I don't think I should have to work with this. Yeah, and then you give the owners something to think about, which is because the only.
So in the press conference, then he should have said something.
No, I'm saying he should have said to his owner, if you continue with this policy of doing precisely what you seem to want, because the argument is that Ralph Hasenhüttl had nothing to do with that, right? And it must be all idiot owners. Now, either Hasenhüttl had something to do with that, which makes him complicit, or he had nothing to do with it, and he should have damn well done something about it.
It would seem the latter, surely. He wouldn't have anything to do with that.
Well, then why stick
Take
for
my backroom staff away and give me these guys. Yeah, fine, I'm up for
So,
that.
so who wants to work in there?
So you wouldn't have agreed.
Well, do you want to work in that
But he
environment?
wouldn't have
Someone
agreed.
comes in here. I mean, get rid of Luke. Well, that's probably would all be
No,
for
but for
that.
the first time in a
Isn't it?
long
Yeah.
time, are you saying this morning,
Hold
as a
on.
former owner, that lot are to blame?
I'm saying, well, of course
Not
they
the
are.
players, the ownership.
No, the players are ultimately responsible for delivering the output on the pitch, but they've got to be given the correct balance and the correct opportunity. And if you take away everything, if you take away the balance of the squad, then you take away the manager, then you put a manager that's not fit in there, then you replace him with a young manager. There's no. What chance are you going to give yourself?
So Hassan Hurtel, all he's guilty of, he towed the company line. He didn't make a noise.
Great point.
He just got on with the job. Now,
Great point,
I'm just
Martin.
going to turn that round because didn't Conte? Wasn't he honest? And then you accused him of being out of order.
But I'm
in a similar situation when Conte wasn't happy,
no,
the
no,
recruitment wasn't happy,
But Conte,
and you turned against him for that.
No. Conte took.
But it's different for Hassan Hurtel.
No. It's
Good
not.
point,
No,
Martin.
it's not. You're comparing apples with oranges. Conte set the place on fire
the
and
same thing.
decided everyone else's fault. Conte didn't turn around and say toe the party line. Conte, are you seriously going to sit across a table with a straight face to me and say for one moment in time Conte towed the party line? And I don't necessarily believe that Ralph Hasenhüttl did. If you're going to toe the party line...
He did because he stayed and they sacked
Well, we
his
don't know.
staff.
His assumption is a delightful assumption that we like to make, right? How the hell do you know that Hasenhüttl didn't recruit those players?
How do you not?
Well, how do you know he didn't?
Well,
It's not his job to recruit, is it? His job's to manage.
So what you're saying is, hang on, he accepted the signing him. So what you're saying is you've got a flaky, weak manager that takes it every which way. Oh, he's going to win a lot for you.
No, I think he was just towing the company line and getting on with the
But
job.
that's the
and
argument
keeping
you
his
want to advance, to be able to disargue and
Yeah,
made
but I think
somewhere else.
when suddenly a manager like Conte, if we turn it back to Conte, we're going to talk about them after the break. Please, can we talk about it? Because he said a lot of good things when he left because he wanted to raise the standards.
well,
and you
actually,
felt.
What good things did he say?
He said there's
all
no-
of them, the
there's
whole lot of
no
them, from every
togetherness.
single player in the dressing room.
There's a selfishness. They're not winners in the dressing room. He absolutely hammered the group, and the owner is used to 20 years. He's been doing it for 20 years. He's used to this, but it's not acceptable to me. And I don't really want to be a part of it. Obviously, he was making that message.
And I did bugger all to change it.
But on the way out,
I played the worst brand of football that Tottenham had seen for years,
but that's the
and I did
difference.
bugger all to change it.
So did you want Hassan Hurtel to do the same then at Southampton last summer? He should have just come out and had a
No,
go.
you're comparing two different things.
I don't think so.
You're comparing-
I don't think so.
Your bad
I
back's
do
making
not
you
think
really
so.
snarly this morning. The previous 5 season finishes 15th, 15th, 11th, 16th and 17th. We're not exactly going to miss them. They don't exactly pull up trees. But it's a sad day for everybody at Southampton. And the people at the top have got to take the blame. 11:30.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.